welcome back to my channel. Believe it or not, this is going to be a long-running tangent from point A to point B. So if you want to jump right into the video, please go ahead and do that. I wanted to start with how this vision board came to life and how I conceptualized it. It kind of started with Pamela Anderson, who had posted about how much she loved laundry. It just honestly was a different perspective because how I view things is that there are things in life that I love to do, and then there are things in life that I do not love to do. Laundry is a great example of something I would normally try to rush through or get done. The more I think about it, it always feels like whenever you try to cross one of these things off, there's either 8 other things that you don't like to do right behind it, or it just comes back around very quickly. Like, you know, laundry can be almost a weekly thing. So what I started to feel like was I started to kind of feel like a lot of the things in my life, I'm not really enjoying those everyday moments or those everyday tasks. And I think that was the spirit of what Pamela Anderson's post was about, or at least that's what I got from it. So remember, holding that story in mind, right? I also kind of think that there's a lot of images we can see within Pinterest or social media that can also wear you down over time. And I go through phases of this where I'm unaffected by these things, and there are phases where I am more affected by these things, meaning sometimes my life can feel underwhelming when I'm seeing everybody on vacation, or I'm seeing people traveling, or I'm seeing everybody's like, you know, nobody's posting that they're doing laundry that day except for Pamela Anderson. So sometimes with social media, it can feel like your life is underwhelming compared to those you are following, depending on where you're at in your journey in life, in the physical realm, in the mental realm, the emotional realm, the spiritual realm. So this whole board came about in an effort for me to stop comparing myself to things I'm seeing on social media or to other people's lives, and to appreciate my life and every aspect of it, from all the things I look forward to doing, like the vacations I've got planned, to the fact that this room is really filthy behind the camera, to all the things that I have to do around the house or to get cleaned, or the fact that I have to get groceries later today or clean this room later today. I wanted to find a way, and I know romanticize is probably the best keyword for finding a video like this, but I want to romanticize my life, but I want to feel fulfilled really by every aspect of my life. And some of that is going to be easy. Vacations can feel very fulfilling very easily. It doesn't take a lot of cognitive effort to do that. But the things like laundry, I wanted to learn how to enjoy laundry days like Pamela Anderson, or learn how to enjoy some of those aspects of my life, because if you're just living for the weekend or you're rushing through a task, you know, those are moments of your life that you're forfeiting, and they're moments of opportunity for you to feel fulfillment and find enjoyment even in those things, because everybody has those things. I mean, really, even like some of the more rich people, famous people, we all think that they don't have these things. Everybody has tasks they don't want to do, and it might vary from person to person on what those things are. Certain people dread certain things more than others. I don't like going to the dentist, so like that's something I'm not going to look forward to. So it's especially hard to try to find some joy in those moments. I wanted to basically have this vision board be aspirational, both for the things that are inherently aspirational, like, you know, going on the vacations, but also make those mundane things feel more aspirational. So this dream board, I think, does a really good job of holding space for those two things, holding space for appreciating my life exactly as it is right now, as well as holding space for the things I want to include more in my life. If it's on this board, I'm gonna see that image and it's going to make me think, maybe I should go for a hike the next time it's nice out. So all of these thoughts are what started me on down this road to create this vision board. But what came out of this vision board was that I realized once I put all of the aspirational photos or the vibey photos with these activities, and I looked at the board as a whole, I just really saw how much I was sleeping on my life. I'm like, when I look at my life and I look at this board as a representation of those things, I just realized, I was like, my life is a dream life. It's how Instagram lies to you. It's how the world lies to you. Social media, everything lies to you, because you do have a wonderful, your ordinary life is still going to be exceptional and wonderful and phenomenal. And the minute you start realizing that and looking at it like that way, And if you have to do a vision board to get there like I did, it's easy to see someone else's images on social media all day. But when you craft your own and you visualize your own and you put that away and focus more on that, you really start to see how great your life is, or how great it could be, or the things you want to reach for more, or making the ordinary things more fun. I also felt like too, the way this vision board is, so some of these items within this board are also goals. I feel like the way this is such a visual board, it helps me to feel less overwhelmed. Sometimes when I look at a goal list, it feels like, whoa, how am I going to do that? If I just had a list of like 50 hiking spots I wanted to go to, odds are I'd probably maybe hit one of those in a year, versus if I have a Trello board with an image of somebody hiking that emotes, that compels me to feel something. That's what I like about this board as well, is that I do feel like the images can evoke an emotion within yourself to get you to do that thing, or to get you to see that thing in a certain light, or to get you to act in a certain way that a simple goal list by itself would not be able to do. Some other things that came out of this was learning that I don't really want a fast life, I want a slow life. And I think this is a little bit different than the soft life girlies. That's a beautiful thing. That's not quite what I'm talking about though. I think that social media, because you're getting so many messages or so many images a day, it feels like they're traveling all the time. At this moment in time, I don't travel that much. So in my head, it feels like you're behind, like everybody's doing all of these things. And I've done one thing fun this month, whereas this person's done like 50 things this month. And in my head, it was starting to make me feel like I didn't realize that I was auto-subscribing to a fast life, that it really wasn't put there by myself. It was put there because of what I was feeding myself. And what I was feeding myself was people doing lots of things all the time that appear very high value, appear very Instagrammable. And so it made me auto-subscribe to the notion that I should be as well. But when I made this board, it kind of helped me realize, like, I don't really like living like that. I think I've lived like that at certain times of my life. It's like a rat race. It's like a hedonic treadmill. Like, you feel like you're constantly doing it. And I've had fun in those moments, don't get me wrong. When I've had back-to-back vacations, or I've had back-to-back experiences, those are wonderful things. And it's by no means a problem in and of itself. However, I do feel that maybe the more I ask myself what I truly want, and instead of just what I've auto-subscribed to, what do I really like? I really kind of like just having one thing that I can really focus on and enjoy it. Like, even each day, I've tried to get myself down from feeling like I got to do 5 things on a Saturday to feel like Saturday was accomplished, to now I feel like if I do one quality thing each day, like today it will be vlogging. Today it will be this one act. Not to say I won't go do other things today, but maybe I won't. And I'm gonna feel wonderful about it, and I'm going to have more quality time doing this, because I'm not constantly thinking like, well, I gotta do 3 other things next. Like I gotta rush to do this and I gotta do that, so it looks like I'm doing all these things and I'm a very fun person. I think that it's nice to have a slow life. It's nice to just do one thing this week. Like, you know, I think we went to a movie on Friday. That's wonderful. I just feel like our life has gotten so fast, and I don't know if a lot of us have realized that yet. You can even tell with movies, when you're watching movies, how slower paced movies used to be, and now things are so quick. The treadmill keeps going up quicker and quicker, and it's like the frog in the boiling water. I don't know if everybody's conscious of that. I think I'm becoming more conscious of it myself. Trying to slow down and disconnect, come off of social media, decide for myself what my dream lifestyle is like, and slow down and decide the pace that I want to go. That's great that other people go that pace. My life is just as valuable and has just as much quality if I see it that way and I put the intention into it, and I know that. So anyway, I feel like that was a whole sermon, but there was a lot of good that charged me to do this Trello board, and that came out of this Trello board. So I really hope you guys consider making one. And I also want to add that I also infused my geographical region with this. I infused the fact that I live in Atlanta, because that's another aspect, is I want to make sure that if I'm living here, I'm getting the most out of this town. So you'll see a lot of that as well going into the Trello board. Also, one more note I did want to say, this is also for people who maybe feel bored in their life, Maybe they just went through a breakup, or maybe they're in a new place and they don't have any friends. Maybe they're in an old place and they don't have any friends. Or they're working on building some new relationships or new friendships, or maybe you feel lonely. This is also, by the time you're done making this, really, you'll feel so booked and busy. You will feel like you have so much to do, and you'll hopefully feel less bored, I think, too, because that's something that came out of this for me as well, was like, wow, I have so many things I could do, and seeing them in this contextual, visual way, it becomes very apparent. So I'm turning this way. We're going to get into it. I'm going to show you the board without further ado. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the Atlanta lifestyle board. I always feel so vulnerable right after I start to share a Trello board. A quick lay of the land before we dive into all the nitty details. I'm gonna go from left to right as well, but before we dive into each of the cards, if you're new to Trello, the things that are covered by the blue lines, that are outlined by the blue lines here, these are cards, Trello cards. And I'll call these Trello columns, so like where the cards can kind of lie within. So I think they're calling them lists. So when I was thinking about the Atlanta lifestyle, I was kind of thinking from daily to weekdays to weekends to Sundays. So let's start with that frame of reference. So, because there are certain things that I'm doing during the day, certain things I'll do during the work week, and then there's certain things I'll do on the weekends. And it's not to say that some of the weekend activities won't end up during the week and weekday activities won't end up during the weekend, but just in terms of concept, there are things that I know I want to do on a daily basis, or that I would like to do on a daily basis, and there are certain things that make more sense during the weekdays, the weekends, and so on. Sunday as well, I don't have it written here as Sunday reset, but I did try to theme the Sunday column to be more about like a Sunday reset vibe. So that's the first 4 columns. Then scrolling over, I have different neighborhoods within Atlanta. So if we're talking about going from the weekend vibe into, these all kind of make sense together because these are things that you can do. These other columns here, the neighborhoods, the arts and sciences, the sports, these are things that can be integrated into the days of the week, the weekdays or the weekend or Sunday. So just keep that in mind as well. So I have neighborhoods within Atlanta. This is how I've sorted basically my food bucket list. So within Atlanta, there's a lot of restaurants, just like there is with any city. But there's also a lot of neighborhoods. And I just think, I mean, again, just with every other city as well, but I like to view, when I go out to eat or go to a new place or go to a restaurant, I like to understand it within the context of the neighborhood it's in, because Atlanta has a lot of very eclectic neighborhoods. So I've sorted my restaurants and experiences by neighborhood. So Marietta, Midtown, Virginia Highland, Old Fourth Ward, Ponce City Market. Some of these have their own art card. Some of these have their own cards just because of how much they store within it. Ponce Highland area. We'll get into the nitty gritty in a little bit. I forgot I was saying that. And then also I've got arts and sciences. So these are the neighborhoods that, you know, I like to go to. Then these are the arts and sciences. So we've got High Museum. I love Oakland Cemetery, first of all. Like, they do a lot of really fun events. Concerts, George Aquarium, Fernbank Museum, Atlanta Botanical Garden, Atlanta Symphony. And then sports, I've sort of made this based on Atlanta, the sports within Atlanta. But I've also sort of stated what seasonality they have to them. So with soccer, that's February to October. With baseball, that's April to October. Football is September to February, and basketball is October to April. So as you'll see here, I had to put my Gamecocks where they belonged within the football and basketball realm. I'm Gamecock first before I am an Atlanta football team or basketball team even. So I had to have my basketball girls USC championships, so my champions. So that's sports because those kind of take place throughout the year. And then I also included a list of all the yearly festivals that are in Atlanta. And then we'll talk more about the strategy for the yearly trips, but I do keep sort of like an evergreen list of yearly trips that either I have done or want to do. And then also I've got a seasonal column, fall, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I consider in my world, that's what I'm considering seasons and what makes sense for me. If you were to do something for yourself, that might look a lot different, but I'll explain that as well as we get into it. And then I've got all of the holidays, and a lot of these either I'll list when my office is closed and when they're not. Like Valentine's Day, they're not closed for Valentine's Day, but I wanted to list some of these items as well. And then I just added this in here. I added all the annual visits that I like to do for my physicians. So dermatologist, gynecologist, optometrist. I put all of those annuals in there as well because that's part of my lifestyle and it's very important to me. Also, if you see this little hair, it is my bald spot growing back. So please don't mention it. Please don't talk about it, whatever you do. And then I put all of like my friends and family's birthdays within here as well, just because those are things that happen throughout the year. So this is the lay of the land for the Atlanta Lifestyle Board. I hope that makes sense. If there's any questions for how this is laid out, and I think some of them will get answered as we go, please feel free to leave the question in the comment. I'll make sure to try to clarify, but I've had to integrate time between day, weekday, weekends, and then activities. Like museums, different neighborhoods in Atlanta, with things that happen on an annual basis, like traveling or festivals, including seasonality in there, like October, fall, all of those types of things, and including holiday weekends, and including pesky doctor appointments that always come around. So again, if you did watch the beginning of this video, I'm trying to romanticize or find fulfillment within every activity of my life. So to me, this is a very broad scope of every activity within my life. So going from there, let's dive into each column. So for the first one, I've got, it's so cringy, and whatever, I'm cringe on the internet, I've accepted that. So for daily, I put this, it's a silly picture of myself that I can't even, I'm like getting rosy cheeked laughing at this, I feel cringy, but for me, I wanted to have a picture of myself that to me gives me the feeling of sort of my best self on the inside is this view right here. It's me being silly, me being goofy, because I do try to be so perfect all the time. So I put this as just a note as well, to just have fun. Like have fun, just have fun, and don't try to be so perfect, because sometimes when we look at vision boards, we feel like we have to be perfect or we have to do all of these things perfectly, and that's really not the goal of this Trello board, so I wanted to put that note there first and foremost. Then moving on from there, going into the daily activities, I exercise every day, or I aspire to exercise every day, and I have listed here specifically my favorite types of exercise, which are Pilates, running and walking, and yoga. I don't try to make myself do other activities unless if I want to. I don't do exercise I don't enjoy. I don't find it beneficial to me in any way. So I've gotten to the point where I make sure to only exercise in the ways that I like to exercise, and these could change as I age. So where I'm at right now is that I am doing those things. Also, you'll kind of see there's a theme throughout this of like brown-haired girls. I picked that so that it would make me feel more like I relate, like it's more like it's me in the photo, like look, it's me grocery shopping. So I do recommend, if you try to do a board like this, try to find images that speak to you, and for you, if that's finding someone that is representative of what you look like and who you are and the community you're within, please do that. This is just, again, from my worldview and from where I'm coming from. So I tried to get people that emulated who I am or who I kind of want to be. So moving along through the daily path, I've got music in here. This is very important to me that I try to listen to music every day. I noticed when I'm in depressive moods or depressive seasons of my life, it's usually because I'm not listening to music anymore. And so making sure I'm integrating music into my life is important. Doing my journaling every day, specifically gratitude journaling. I have really picked up on that this year, especially the more I've done therapy. I've been doing a lot of journaling. I tried to make getting ready look fun. I kind of hate doing makeup and doing my hair every day. So I tried to make this look vibey, make it look like a good time. So get ready. I put my little dog in here. I walk Purdy. Now I do not have to glamorize that because I do love walking my dog. I love walking her so much. So I have that because I walk her every day. And then we do normally cook every day, especially during the week. And oftentimes it's HelloFresh. So I try to make that look fun as well. Cooking is a chore for me. I know a lot of people feel like it's relaxing. I'm not that person. I hate cooking. I love eating. I hate cooking. So I'm trying to learn to appreciate, to slow down and enjoy the cooking process, but it can be hard when you work all day. So also, which by the way, I am a professional. I do work 8 to 5 every single day. So the YouTube is a fun thing I do on the side. So reading every day. I love reading fantasy, thrillers, romance, memoirs. I'll link my Goodreads or whatever down below if you guys want to follow me there, but reading every single day, I have no problem achieving this. I'm such a reader right now. Walking every day, I put that the aspiration here is to do 10,000 steps. Again, we're not shooting for perfect. I'm not doing all of these things every single day, but it is just a goalpost to look at that. You know, that is a goal of mine. That's something I want to strive for. And if I can hit it once or twice a week, I think that's great. Meditating, that's something that I have not gotten into that I want to do more of and see more of that value with it and see myself doing it in my day-to-day. I added yoga here more as like a sort of like a before bed kind of yoga, stretching yoga, not so much as a workout. That's why I put it separate from exercise in this instance. For a daily habit is more of just making sure I spend some time stretching. And then sleep, getting 8 hours nightly. That's very important. Okay, so moving along, I want to make sure I'm giving enough detail, but I also don't want anybody falling asleep in this class. Okay, so I'm going to keep it moving as best as I can. And if anyone wants me to say more about anything, I will do so in the comments below, but I'm going to try to zip because we have a lot left to cover here. So for weekdays, I tried to make work look vibey, right? How cute is that photo? For finances, okay, so during the week, I have a finance tracker. I have a template for that. I'm big on budgets. I'm big on all of that. I'm big on forecasting. I love it. I absolutely love it. I wish I would have went to school for this. But I tried to make it look vibey because sometimes it's a chore and seeing when you're in the red is not always a fun activity. So I tried to make this look vibey. Returns, you guys. I told you I put everything in this board. I hate doing returns, absolutely can't stand it, but it looks like fun when someone's got their little lip gloss and their matcha tea, okay? That looks like a lot more fun, and it's something I have to do. It's something that's going to be happening in my life. Cleaning, that speaks for itself. Cleaning, yeah. Weekdays as well, trying to listen to my podcasts and audiobooks. I forget about podcasts. I love podcasts. I forget about them all the time. So I added this card in here for that reason. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting. And then also I've got therapy. I try to do those on Mondays. I get my nails done. I try to do those on Mondays as well when I'm not in therapy. And I enjoy doing that. I like having my nails look nice. I don't like going to the salon though. I will say that I hate going to get them done. I love having them done. The movie theater, oh my God, I could talk about this. I can make a whole video about this, so I won't say a whole lot right now, but just know that I am an AMC Stubs member, and if you want to hear me talk about it, just ask me and I'll tell you all about it. I love it so much. It gives us such a fun date night every week. We go see all the movies. It's basically $20 for the whole entire month to have unlimited movies. This is not sponsored, nor is Trello. I forgot to mention that. Neither of these two things are sponsored, but I love going to the movies now. I absolutely love it. Then I've got book club. I meet with my cousin often. Her and I will meet. We'll do book clubs on Wednesdays. And then I've got, I added streaming because sometimes streaming does not feel aspirational. It feels like you're a slob. And I don't want to glamorize sitting on the couch all day. However, I think that for my type, I'm very type A. I feel really bad if all I do all day is sit and stream and watch things. I feel like I'm always that person who feels like they should be doing something. So I do think in my instance, it's okay to validate that your day was well spent if you just stayed home streaming and you enjoyed your shows. And shows and movies are just great storytelling. So that's how I spin it. It's stories. They're important and valid stories that need to be shared with me, and I need to make the time for them. Video gaming. I have gotten more into video gaming lately. Me and my boyfriend love to game. Talk about that as well. A lot about that, but we have to keep going. So video gaming and then FaceTiming family and friends. Guys, I hate phone calls. I love my family and friends. I hate being on the phone. It's the phone itself that bothers me. It's the fact that I have to sit here like this. I can't stand that part of it, but I love connecting with my friends and family. So I've tried to glamorize that a little bit because that's a very fun activity. Moving into the weekend, so vlogging, group class. For me, group classes, reformer Pilates, yoga. Other things that are fun on the weekends, going to Piedmont Park for a walk, going to the East Side Beltline for a walk, going to the West Side Beltline, going hiking. This is what I mentioned earlier. So hiking, within hiking, I've got all the different lists of different places with some notes along with them. Brunch. I made this easy by saying choose a neighborhood. So that goes back to this column, which we will get to soon. So brunch is its own activity. Going to specific places is another activity. Combining them, that's how Trello clicks for me. So sometimes I want to go to brunch. That could just be locally. That could just be right up the street. That could even be Waffle House. But sometimes I want to go to brunch in italics, which is more of like a fun outing with girlfriends, going to the city, going and doing this, going to a certain neighborhood, going to the chic restaurant. So those to me are kind of two separate things. So I can kind of elevate it or de-elevate it based off of the actual mood I have there. Baking, Barnes & Noble, I love Barnes & Noble, so it gets its own card. I love going to Barnes & Noble. Thrifting is so much fun. Paddleboarding, I also put some places in here as well where I like to paddleboard. Pool, that's more of like a May through September activity in Atlanta, so I put that as well. This will probably move out at some point during the winter and fall months. Barbecue is also a seasonal activity. Making a fun dinner. Sometimes on Saturday, it's vibey to me when I see people on Instagram who, you know, they make like a fun dinner, and I'm like, oh, I never cook on the weekends. I don't want to cook on the weekend, but kind of like, I do feel a little bit of FOMO. I'm like, maybe that would be kind of fun. So I put fun dinner, meaning you cook with a friend, you cook by yourself, but you make it fun. And it's hopefully maybe healthy, maybe not. Who cares? Maybe it's one of those fun Pinterest recipes or a fun recipe from a book that you haven't tried yet. Another thing for the weekend is putting on a fun outfit. This is something I never prioritized in my life. I'm always in sweats, and I'm working on that because I love putting on a fun outfit. I love feeling cute. So added that. Then for this, I was gonna do like a date night, but instead I kind of settled on time of day. So, and I called it an adventure. So that kind of implies that you could do this with a date, you could do this by yourself, you could do this with friends. So you have a day adventure or a night adventure, and you choose your neighborhood for either of those. So again, that goes back to this column, which we will get to shortly. And then I've got fast food but minimized, because that's part of my goal this year, is that I want to learn how to embrace my bad habits, but do it in a way where I'm not like eating 10 different things at McDonald's. When I do want McDonald's, I'm letting myself have it. But I'm also trying to make sure that I'm, you know, maybe I won't have soda with it, or maybe I won't have the fries with it. So I'm trying to find a way to not cross that thing off my list completely out of my life, even though I'm trying to diet and eat better, because I do have some joy from it, and I'm never gonna cross it out. I'm sorry, I'm not. So I just want to make sure that I'm also like, when I am partaking, that I'm doing it within, put my brain into a little, and I'm not just like, you know, bellying up. So the other thing I do is I love going to Taco Mac. So this had its own cart as well. If you have your own favorite restaurant that you love to go to, add that here. Taco Mac is my guilty pleasure. I love going there. And I need to add some stuff for dog-friendly outings. So moving along, keeping it going. Sundays, we've got groceries, healthy meal prep. We've got healthy food to go. We've got reading out, a nice bath. We've got a spa day. We've got rock climbing. We've got the hair salon. I need to add a card for shopping because I noticed that that wasn't in here, and that's a really big problem. So just listing some of the grocery stores that I like to go to, Trader Joe's. Same thing with the healthy meal prep. Just writing here that my goal is to have 80% whole foods and prioritizing plants every single day. Healthy food to go is like going out, like instead of, it's like fast food. It's like the fast food one, except for it's more like, hey, you want to go grab something quick, grab something healthy instead. So it's like the fast food card, but it's more angled at trying to get me to stop getting McDonald's by default and start to realize, oh, there are like Kale Me Crazies and other types of healthy spots that I could grab fast food at. Reading out, I have to make a whole video about that as well. I have ideas there. So going into neighborhoods, I have created lists within each of these cards of different restaurants that I like to go to, places I love, places I want to try, places where I've been there, done that. It was okay. Nothing to write home about there. So what I've done here is come up with a lot of the different neighborhoods. I don't think I'm really done yet. It's not really exhaustive, but it's a lot. It's pretty comprehensive. So I've got the Midtown area, Virginia Highland neighborhood, Old Fourth Ward. I'm gonna mention these just for anybody who's in Atlanta who's watching who might wanna see, or for people outside of town, just for whatever reason. I'll go through this list. Old Fourth Ward, Ponce City Market is located within Old Fourth Ward, but it's its own building and it has a lot of restaurants. Ponce Highland area, Inman Park, Krog Street Market is within the Inman Park neighborhood off of the Beltline, so I added that. I got Little Five Points, Candler Park, Cabbagetown, Reynoldstown, Edgewood, Grant Park, Summer Hill, East Atlanta Village, and I think that's about it. West Midtown, Atlantic Station. So I've just taken different photos from these areas and I've added them in here just to add that visual concept for the vision board. Going into the arts and sciences, so these are also pretty self-explanatory. I've added that, like, I do want to try to hit these up every year. I mean, at least once a year would be great. Like going to the museum once a year, seeing an art installment. Oakland Cemetery has a lot of great events, so hitting them up. Concerts, Georgia Aquarium, just making sure that I am making time each year to do something at each of these types of places. Atlanta Symphony does a lot of really cool stuff, and they do a lot of the like movies with the live orchestra. It's so cool. Sports as well, trying to hit like an Atlanta United game, and or just going out to a bar and watching a game with some friends, and or just watching at home. I need a reminder for sports. I'll be honest, I'm not a big sports person, so I do need to be reminded in a vision board that they exist and that I should get into them from time to time because it is fun. Baseball stadium was a lot of fun as well. Me and Zach have really enjoyed going to baseball games over the last few years, so that's something we never really used to do, but now we do. And then football, self-explanatory. Basketball, self-explanatory. And then the yearly festivals within Atlanta that I've written down so far. This is not exhaustive. This is pretty comprehensive, but not exhaustive. And I put the timeline for which they are. So Renaissance Festival is in April through June. Inman Park Festival, Sweetwater 420 Fest, Illumine, which is an Oakland Cemetery event, Beltline Lantern Parade, Atlanta Jazz Fest, Shaky Knees, Atlanta Greek Festival, North Georgia State Fair, Candler Park Festival, Decatur Book Festival, Chomp and Stomp. So there's a lot of different places. These are festivals that I've been to and some that I have not been to, so I'm very excited to do those. And also this is just a good way to fill up your calendar and maybe meet some new people. Then I've got the yearly trips, the seasonal and the holidays, and these will kind of have some, I'll have a little bit of discussion around these because they're a little bit, I want to go into detail just a little bit, but I think we are almost done. So this is where I feel like my insanity is probably going to show just a little bit. Again, coming at this board thinking like, what's everybody doing on social media that I feel like I'm missing out on? They travel all the time, right? So I was like, well, if you could travel, if money wasn't a thing, time off wasn't a thing, what trips would you want to do? If you could do a trip every single year, every month of the year, every day of the year, what would you want to do? Like, what would you actually want to do? And this was a hypothetical question. So again, this may or may not be attainable, but this is coming from that frame of reference. So hypothetically, for me, Samantha McCarthy, I would love, again, completely unlimited PTO, unlimited resources to travel, money, all of that, time. I would think a cabin trip in January would be a lot of fun with some friends because it's like nice and cold. Then a family trip, going to a different place each time, like going to Arizona for that family trip. So that's like seeing my parents, all of those things. Then, and I put these, I like kind of hypothetically put them in the month that I think they should be in. So January for the cabin trip. The family trip would be in February because it buddies up really good with one of these holiday weekends. So a lot of these I've coordinated with a holiday weekend to get that extra boost. And maybe we'll get to that in a second. Let me just tell you the hypothetical dream. Hypothetical dream, cabin trip in January. Family trip, no. Cabin trip in January, family trip in February, international trip in March because I heard that's a good time to go. An Orlando trip in April, a best friend trip in May, a staycation in June, and a states trip, and that's just like a somewhere stateside. That's part of my like, oh my god, there's something like that. That's part of, I wish I could see, okay. That's part of the see all 50 states goal that I have, bucket list goal. So that's like a stateside trip. So picking a different state to go to. My heating pad turned off and I'm on my period and I need that. So a stateside trip in July, and then a beach trip in August, which then brings us to seasonal, because that's like a trip every single month. And then after August, we go into fall, which I have a lot of fall activities for both September and October. Those are busy months for me. They're busy at home. Like, I've got stuff I like to do during those seasons. They're very important seasons for me. So moving from the beach into fall, and then going into Thanksgiving in November. So that takes up, so fall takes up October, September and October. Thanksgiving takes up November, and then Christmas can take up December. So that's like the most frenetic, money is no object, time is no object. Like, that would be a really bomb year, in my opinion. I think that would be a lot of fun. So what I tried to do is I took my aspiration, or like the best case scenario, or like the most hypothetical dream, right? And I was like, well, how could I make it happen? Or how could I make some of it happen, right? And obviously winning the lottery is a great option. The second thing though, what I tried to do is I was trying to take each of these trips and combine them with different holidays that I have. So we get Martin Luther King Day. I'm not gonna list all of these, but I'll just kind of scroll through. We got St. Patrick's on here, Easter, all of these different holidays throughout the year to have fun and celebrate. But they can also be integrated into these yearly trips, which is what I've done up here. When you click into this, and I should mention that I did make each of these designs within Canva, and it was very easy. It was time consuming, but it was very easy. So I've got, you know, a 5-day trip to the cabin where it takes 2 out of office, and I could use 1 holiday because of MLK Day, for instance. The family trip, I can use a couple out of office days, and I could use President's Day. So I could combine it with President's Day. So it's just a way of like getting the most out of your time off that you might have. And that's not to say you could do all of these trips in a single year in terms of time off. Unless if you work remote, that's another way you could integrate this into your life, is if you have the money, but maybe not the time off, you could work remote during these days. You could take a week and go each of these places, work during the day, and then log off at night, and then do stuff on the weekends. It's totally up to each person, but that was sort of my mindset there. And so I do recommend, I obviously recommend you guys make a board like this, but I really do recommend that you sit down and have like a fun time thinking about like the best year ever for yourself, and like work to get there. And even if you could only do 2 of these trips, and then you work up to 3 of these trips a year, and then 4, whatever you have to do, or maybe you just land on doing more than you normally would. You maybe never hit the goal. I don't think anyone would ever hit this goal. I think you would be pretty tired if you did all of those things. I'm sure there are people who live this life, but I think for the vast majority of us, we do not live that life. But I mean, again, it's not to say you can't make it happen. I believe that you can make it happen in one way or another, with time, with whatever. So that's the other thing that I have as well. And so each of these cards, like I said, these art cards were made in Canva. I designed them in Canva, little template, dropped it in, very easy to make it just look a little bit more pretty, but you could do that however you want. Additionally, I've added some labels to denote timing, and I've also linked in certain boards to other boards. So I will show you a sneak preview of my fall board, because what I'm not about to do is list everything in that card when I have a whole board dedicated to fall. This will be its own video. Don't even look. Like, don't even look, because I want to have its own video soon. So that's a preview. That's a preview of maybe a video I'm going to do next. But there's no reason for me to make a checklist of things to do for fall when I have a whole board dedicated to it. And likewise, I have a whole board dedicated to Thanksgiving. I'll give another preview here of just all the different recipes I like to make. Again, I've made them look a little prettier with some Pinterest photos, but they're my recipes. A lot of these in here are my own recipes. Not my photos, but they are my recipes, or they're recipes I want to try. So yeah, and then I also have one for Christmas as well. So just to show that this is basically, to sum up, like we could pretty much end it here because this will probably be a 40-minute vlog and I don't intend to edit it. Get bored, I don't care, you're gonna watch the whole 40 minutes, okay? This is class and you're in class and I need you to, the bell doesn't dismiss you, I dismiss you. We're almost done. But yeah, I just feel like I felt so excited. There's so much in a given year. There's so much in a given geographical location. For me, that's Atlanta. There's just so much you can do with your life where it's at right now. None of this could be as cheap as you want it to be with my board. Speaking to my board, I could apply this board that I've made as cheaply or as expensively as I want to take it. So I think that's the other thing too to bear in mind, that I think a lot of us are waiting to get rich to live our lives or retire to live our lives. I think this also demonstrates that you could do a lot of these things, or you already are doing a lot of these things, and you can do them with maybe more fun, and you don't need to have a lot of money. But if you want to work at having more money to do more of these things, you could do that too. So that's why I think it's such a cool board, because it's got all this like space and breadth within it to apply your goals and aspirations and the mundane things of life to really visualize your life. And this is where I was like, damn, this is great if I look at it like this. Now, do I absolutely do everything on this board and in this capacity? Absolutely not. That's not the point, right? The point is to have fun. And the point is to use this as a replacement for my social feed. So instead of letting people on social media tell me what I should be doing with my life, this is what I want to be doing with my life. Everything on here is intentional. Unlike with social media, where it might be intentional who I'm following, but what they post is not intentional for me to see. I just so happen to see it as I'm scrolling. I can't control what I'm seeing in my scroll. Whereas this, everything in here is intentional. It's by me, by my decision, something that I find important, something that I find meaningful, something that I want to find more joy in, or that I do find joy in. And it's just my voice. It's no external voices here really, other past what I felt like integrating in. So that is really the summation of this Atlanta lifestyle board. I really hope that somebody got some value from this. I got value from this, and I really, really enjoyed making it, and I reference it all the time. Like if a weekend comes and I'm like, I don't know what, sometimes that happens. You're like, you just forget. You're like, what can I do? I'm so bored. If it's raining out, go to a group class. If it's not raining, go on a walk at the Piedmont Park, check out a new neighborhood. I also, one last thing, and I will end it. There is a Spinny Wheel website. And what I will do as well, I will take some of these activities, like if I don't know what I want to do, or I want to force myself to get out of the house, I'm very introverted, I will pick some of these cards and I will put them in my spinny wheel and spin the wheel. And me and Zach do this all the time with shows, movies. So I try to do it myself with activities, different neighborhoods. That's how I do a lot of my food videos. I'll just spin the wheel and I'm like, where are we going today? I'll take the list from this board, or the neighborhoods from this board, or the activities in this board. I'll put them in a spinning wheel and I'll spin the wheel. And it's just, again, guys, it's a creative way to try to make your ordinary life fun. It's a way to make your ordinary life, romanticize your ordinary life. So I'm saying quotes because it's whatever you subscribe to there. Your ordinary life is still an amazing life. So I think that's just the whole message of this video, and I hope that it was received. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I can't wait to shoot another one of these. I love you guys so much. Please have the best day ever. Bye.